Welcome to the Co-Parenting Conversations podcast, brought to you by the Center for Divorce Education. With renowned psychologist Dr. Donald Gordon, we will delve into the complex world of co-parenting during and after divorce and separation. Join us as we explore some of the emotional, legal, and practical aspects of parental breakups, helping you navigate this transformative journey with wisdom and guidance. Whether you're currently going through a divorce, contemplating separation, or supporting a loved one in their journey, the Center for Divorce Education is here to empower you with knowledge and offer you a roadmap towards a brighter future. The information presented in this podcast is intended for educational purposes only. The presentation of this material is not intended to constitute mental health therapy or to diagnose mental health disorders. The presentation of this material is not intended to constitute legal advice. Participants are encouraged to discuss specific legal questions with a licensed attorney of their choice.
Welcome back to the Co-Parenting Conversations podcast by the Center for Divorce Education. We provide online parenting classes for divorcing and separating parents. And I'm Jamie, and I'm here with my colleague Chelsea and our executive director, Dr. Don Gordon. So today we're diving into a topic that affects nearly every family: screen time and social media. So in this episode, we'll explore practical strategies to help co-parents work together to set healthy screen time limits, encourage offline activities, and guide children in navigating the digital world safely. So, Chelsea, why does screen time matter so much?
Well, it's proven that excessive screen time can disrupt children's sleep, reduce physical activity, and impair the development of social skills, which may lead to obesity and hinder emotional intelligence. It also negatively impacts academic performance and increases the risk of mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, especially through social media exposure. So that's why it's crucial that parents are managing their children's screen time.
According to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, children under 18 months old, screen time should be limited to just video chatting along with an adult. Children between 18 and 24 months, screen time should be limited to watching educational programming with a caregiver only. For children aged 2 to 5, limit non-educational screen time to about an hour per weekday or 3 hours on the weekends. So for ages 6 and older, encourage healthy habits and limit activities that include screens. And that obviously is going to be dependent on the children themselves. And one of the most terrifying side effects to me comes from social media. When children are using screens, they're often on social media like TikTok or Instagram, and that really does open them up to cyberbullying, inappropriate content, unhealthy comparisons. Pew Research Center has found that 23% of teens feel worse about their own life after seeing content on social media, with girls more likely than boys to experience negative feelings.
Well, for me, I especially worry about younger children and their games. Parents forget to monitor the games. Because it's such an effective way to catch a break as a parent, we almost don't want to know. But my 7-year-old, he plays Fortnite, Roblox, and Rec Room mostly. And one day I heard voices of grown men coming from his game, and I about lost it. I placed parental controls on everything immediately.
What exactly did you do? Like, what parental controls?
So I did a few things. Number one is I used a family sharing feature to set his iPhone to where he has to request my permission to download games through my phone. And I also added age restrictions on his phone and on his apps. And then I also added restrictions on his microphone and chat setting inside of the games, which is an easy setting to miss.
The power of the internet in the hands of an innocent child can be really scary.
It took some getting used to, but my son eventually adjusted his behavior, which was an enormous issue at home and at school. He took a massive turn for the better. I felt less guilty too for no longer using it as a crutch at his expense.
Right.
And now I use his screen time with approved apps as an incentive to behave well at school. His teacher gives out tickets for good behavior in class. No ticket, no phone, no discussion.
Wow, that's smart. Yeah, enforcing rules and boundaries like that can be a really big challenge, especially when co-parenting. particularly when one parent has regulations on screen time and social media and the other doesn't. So, Dr. Don, what are your thoughts on managing screen time and social media uses between two homes?
Okay, since managing screen time is such an important issue and there's lots of risks having unsupervised screen time, it's very important that the parents be able to cooperate together to be able to manage this, having similar policies. So having open communication, which reduces their conflict and can help them cooperate. And the skills taught in our program, such as active listening, where they listen to what the other parent is saying, and that's a real important skill. And also iMessage, where they state their feelings about what the other parent is doing without blaming them or attacking them. So those are really good skills that'll help them learn how to manage this social media together. Kids will often try to divide and conquer their parents, trying to get one parent to give them permission to do things the other parent doesn't allow. And that's just normal for kids to do that. So all the more reason for parents to cooperate and have similar standards. Another skill that parents can use is self-talk. Before they have a conversation with their co-parent, they might talk about what their goals are to themselves. When both of the parents are using the same policies, like rules like no screen time during dinner or before doing homework or right before bedtime, the children will be more likely to adjust to it. It's really easy to let screens be a babysitter for kids, and we all do that, and I've done that with my grandchildren, and it's really tempting because they're really enjoying it so much, and you can be doing other things. So by being more involved with them and supervising with them, it takes more of your time. So it takes a commitment and an effort. It also sends a message to your children that you really care about them.
So basically, do have an open discussion with your co-parent about the social media or screen time and come up with a rule that works for both households. Do you have any advice on how parents should approach these issues?
Yeah, they can agree on some consistent rules, set up similar boundaries, as I just mentioned, screen-free zones, time limits, using apps that help track and limit screen time, and the parent should share that information when they discover it. Create a digital schedule. So you establish a shared screen time schedule with clear time slots for schoolwork, entertainment, and family time. Also to encourage activities that don't involve screens, like talking to their friends on the phone, getting together with their friends on the phone, playing outside, reading, playing games with the family. Try to promote hobbies that don't involve screens, such as sports and drawing or doing puzzles or playing games, as I mentioned, and arranging for more direct contact, like play dates between your kids and their friends. It's also important to use parental controls to monitor social media activity and to restrict access to inappropriate content and the privacy settings for your child's accounts. And then setting a good example is important, like monitor your own screen use. If you're on your phone all the time looking at the screen, but you're telling your children they need to limit it, that's a conflicting message. It's good for you to show healthy screen habits, and it's probably going to help you too, because the algorithms to keep our eyes on screens are very sophisticated and give us what we like, and it's really hard to break away from the screens. So it really showing some self-control yourself will be a good example for your kids.
Also, according to Pew Research Center, 80% of teens report feeling more connected to their friends through social media. But this constant connection also leads to feelings of social isolation for some of them. So, any tips on getting older kids on board with making these changes?
Do some research yourself and learn about these sophisticated algorithms that keep all of us, our eyes glued to our screens. And having a family meeting where you talk to your teens and preteens about the reasons why corporations have developed this. It's so that they will get to know you really well, so they can send ads your way that are likely to be very closely aligned with your interests. So it's all about selling you products. And the more time you're spending on the screen, the more information you're giving to these corporations about your preferences. So it's easier to tempt you with the things that you want. So you as a parent can unite with your teens to kind of like defeat this intention. So it's good to involve your kids in discussions about this and the reasons for the limitations. and to use age-appropriate language and talk about the importance of balancing screen time on social media with expectations in the real world.
Right. I think this was an important subject for many parents to hear about. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Co-Parenting Conversations podcast. And if you're eager to dive deeper into strategies for managing screen time, be sure to check out season 2, episode 3, where we explore the conversation further. Thanks for listening.